What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Kate Bush, and we're back with another tune from her 1978 debut album, The Kick Inside. We're not up to the penultimate tune, I think this is the third to last tune, but we are getting close to the end. Once we do finish, there's a whole another slew of albums waiting for us. Shout out to Seb, massive friend and champion of the channel. But yeah, I've enjoyed the journey so far. Again, it's a name that I had heard, and I had heard basically one song. But yeah, I had no idea what I was getting into, especially given the fact that, her voice on this album is different from the one track that I had heard, which is Running Up That Hill. And even then, I heard it after I heard the Placebo cover. So basically, this has been completely uncharted territory, and it's been a very compelling territory that I would like to go deeper into. And once more, shout out to Seb for making that possible. So yeah, we're up to a tune, which is called Room for the Life. I'm intrigued by the phrasing. Obviously, room for life, as a general phrase, we'll talk about the definitive article or definite article in a second. But yeah, room for life or room for living, that could manifest in a couple different ways. It could be like literal physical space, but it could also be emotional space, making room for someone in your emotional life, in your heart, as people would often say, whether that means lowering your defenses or your shield, or it means, if there's a missing part to your emotional life, a loss that you experience, maybe, creating space to allow someone to come in, a new person, and to make a new connection, a new life. But the use of the definite article, the life, it ambiguates the phrase a little bit to me. It makes me a little less clear of what we're talking about, because anytime you slap a label the on something, you are singularizing it. You're making it not just one among many, or at least one among a few, but the one way that this can happen. So yeah, room for the life makes me a little more uncertain, but ultimately, like I said, room I think could be a number of different things conceptually, and then the life, which, life and living are not synonymous. I was using them a moment ago as if they were, but fair to say, a life generally is the totality of a living organism's existence in a sort of metabolic state, whereas living is the present condition of doing that. Now, one can be living and seen to live over an extension of time, but ultimately living has a more present in the moment feel to it, whereas life, as I said, without further context, it generally would outline the entire biological existence. So whether we're talking a biological life specifically, whether we're talking the life of a relationship, so room for the life, creating space where a relationship can exist in the first place. Yeah, it sends my mind obviously into directions of interpersonal relations and emotions, so we'll see if that's how it goes. Once again, when I do these pre-reaction title speculations, it's just a way to get my brain working, but let's get it. This is Kate Bush, the track is Room for the Life, and it's from her 1978 album, The Kick Inside. Gets that lower vibrato. They just take it as part of the deal. Part of the deal? Lost in your bed and the games you play, trying to prove that you're better than mine. But you need to get heavy with them. Like it or not, we want you to, 'cause we'll fly. Like it or not, we're what? I like the way her voice was frolicking and then she went up high. I love that. Was that just melodic? That was too much. It's like bright fireworks. Everywhere doing interesting things. Wow, okay, so again, I was hearing more of the words. I'm still perplexed. There was that line about like, you're trying to prove that you're better than I think that was the line, and maybe I'm hearing that wrong, let me know. But then there was another line about like, are you going to try to stick it out? Or, like, it sounds like someone was, trying to endure even though the conditions were not beneficial to them. But I did hear her say, like, her at some point. So then, but also, like, us, or, like, me. So it felt like there was maybe 3 people, or maybe, like, the she is just her referred to in a third person way. I'm not sure. So again, I'm not quite clear on exactly what's happening, even though it sounds like there's some interesting emotional dynamics. And then as we got closer to the end, I sort of heard that line that sounded like there's room for the life in your room, which again, the idea of inhabiting a certain space, there's a couple songs where I've talked about it, where like, living with someone in a place imbues those places with, at least in your sort of subjective psycho-emotional mind, with characteristics of that person or of the experiences you've shared, which of course can trigger certain memories, certain feelings. So the idea that like seeing a room and remembering the lived-in, inhabited quality of it with this other person, can like spike your emotions and your feelings and so on. So maybe that's the way that lyric was heading. Not quite sure. Do let me know your take on the lyrics. Let me know what you think about the sonics. Once again, I love her singing. I love the textured nature of her singing and the sort of, polyphonic, like saccharine magic. Not saccharine in like a sugary in a kind of cheap way, but saccharine in like a very richly spun and, sort of very potent and powerful substance texture. So yeah, once again, love the sonics, love her singing. Do let me know what you think of the tune. I will see you next time. Peace.